Are you pregnant and not that excited about it? If this is the case for you, firstly, I just want to say that it is okay. And secondly, watch this video as I'll be taking you through what it means to not be that excited about being pregnant. My name is Sophie Harris and I am a pregnancy and postpartum psychotherapist, and I work with new mums in my practice looking after mum. Subscribe using the button below for free weekly support. Not being that excited about your pregnancy is actually extremely common, but it's something that isn't as widely spoken about as how common it is. Some of the reasons why we might not be so excited about it: if you think about it, we've got so much change all at once when we become pregnant, and suddenly we're having to adapt overnight to the idea of this life with a baby. And often as women, we've worked really hard to build careers, and we know that there's going to be so much change within our job roles. We may be worried about the changes in dynamics with our relationships and what that means. For many women during this stage of pregnancy, also it may be that their partner doesn't understand what they're going through right now. Like, as pregnant women, we go through a lot. And there is often multiple symptoms, and just even trying to explain that internal dialogue about being pregnant to somebody who hasn't been can be incredibly difficult. Even if you really wanted your baby, which so many people do and yet still aren't feeling overly excited about being pregnant, it is so much to try to adjust to, particularly when we don't actually have a baby. It's very hard to imagine our lives being so different when we've got nothing really to base that upon. And I'm going to let you in on a little secret from me. So my pregnancy was completely unplanned, and I was not excited about being pregnant during my pregnancy whatsoever. I would maybe get small glimmers of excitement every so often, but that was extremely rare. And that doesn't mean that I didn't go on to love my daughter so incredibly much, but I use that personal example to show how there are so many different reasons why we may not be excited about our pregnancies. Okay, so at this stage I just want to reiterate one more time that it is okay to not be excited about being pregnant, and this does not mean anything about you as a person or a mother. But if you are feeling this way, then what can you do about it? So firstly, I would suggest to bring compassion to yourself. This is so important, as we so easily beat ourselves up feeling that we're not feeling how we should be feeling. Why don't I feel like other people? I always thought it would feel differently. But what we want to do is just try to actually really imagine if you had a friend who was going through something similar to you, what would you genuinely say and think towards them, especially now you know what you're going through yourself. If that is a more compassionate response, try to bring that compassion towards yourself in that situation. And then following on from this, we want to think about these shoulds. Often when we're not excited about being pregnant, we have so many shoulds. I should be feeling this, I should be feeling this. But why should we be feeling anything? Like I mentioned earlier in the video, that we often are working and gaining all of our sense of self-worth and, in our flow with our careers, our families, our friendships. And then suddenly overnight you become pregnant. Of course, it's okay to have mixed emotions or even extremely negative emotions about it. And that is okay too. We need to let go of some of this narrative around how we should be feeling just because either we're pregnant or later when we have a baby, because all of these things are valid during this time. I personally don't think that not being that excited is a reason why you should definitely see a therapist, because that isn't the case. You don't necessarily need to see a therapist if you don't want to. However, if you did want to process some of these changes around becoming pregnant and what this means to you, this would be a really viable option, is to talk to some professional support. Or if it wasn't a therapist or professional support, Maybe just there's a really trusted person in your life who you know will get you and understand where you're coming from. But try to talk through some of these emotions, because it can be so helpful just to let yourself be heard and to reduce any feelings of shame, because that is so unnecessary, because it is just such a normal part of your experience as you go into your motherhood. What is helpful is to learn to tolerate some uncertainty. At the moment, you aren't that excited, but that doesn't mean you won't be soon. And also, life with a baby, the rest of our pregnancies even, can feel so uncertain. And it is really difficult if we're used to having control and to knowing exactly how things are going to go. But learn to try to embrace some of that uncertainty, that you don't know how you feel at the moment, but that doesn't mean it won't change. Being pregnant and having a baby are very different things. And just because you're not excited about being pregnant does not mean you won't be an absolutely amazing mother. If I go back to my personal story, I was lucky enough when my daughter came into the world, I felt an immediate bond and attachment with her, and any anxieties I had during my pregnancy were immediately alleviated. However, this is not the case for a lot of people, and maybe they don't have that immediate bond straight after birth. But everybody who I've worked with in my long career as a therapist has gone on to develop that bond. And it doesn't have to come straight away. We are able to bond with our babies at different rates. If you're looking for more pregnancy support, then subscribe to this channel, as there will be free weekly support going forward. I post twice a week. And then also just post in the comment section your experiences of this. I would love to hear, and I know it would help so many other mothers to hear your experiences around this. Okay, nice to see you, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.